Greetings, determined, unique, progressive, Aquarius. My name is Eliane Nicole. I'm an astrologer and tarot card reader, and now I am going to do the January 2021 astrology and tarot forecast for the sign of Aquarius. I'm going to start with the tarot reading in the first half of the video. In the second half of the video, I'm going to talk about broad strokes of some of the planetary transits for January. And I encourage you to follow me on Instagram at astrology.tarot.Eliane Nicole, because there I will continue the conversation that I start here and fill in the details about some of these transits as they unfold. But in the meantime and in between time, watch the videos here for your sun sign and your rising sign. Your rising sign particularly for the second half of the video, because that's going to let you know where all the planets fall in your birth chart, which houses they fall in. And Happy New Year, by the way, Aquarius. Wow, we made it through 2020. What a feat. So as we enter the month of January, Aquarius, you have the 10 of Wands. You are carrying a lot. And you are covered by the 8 of Wands, which is activity. This could be like a lot of tasks on your to-do list, or just a lot of action and activity going on. It could mean a literal trip or journey, travel, or just like, you know, the idea of progress and just like, it's just like charge, you know. And you are crossed by the 5 of Wands, which it looks like there is a conflict or struggle in January of some kind involving more than 2 people. So right at the beginning of the month, you have like 3 fire cards, you know, the 10, the 8, and the 5 of Wands are all there. So it's like, you know, a fiery, energetic start to the year for you. And the basis is the 7 of Cups. So it has to do, it's the future. You know, you have a lot of options, a lot of possibilities, a lot of different paths that you can take right now. And you were probably thinking about which one you want to take and what you were basing that decision on, you know. And what's leaving is the Magician reverse. So this is a man who was lacking in initiative, maybe impotent, maybe emasculated, maybe having self-doubt or insecurity, something like that. What could come into being is the Hanged Man. This is being in a state of suspension around mid-month. What will come into being is the King of Pentacles. So this is a good money card. This can represent a man of business or wealth. It can represent a job offer. It can represent you know, some kind of mastery in the material realm. And it can represent an earth sign man, like a Taurus, a Capricorn, a Virgo, or just a man who is very practical and really good in business and finance. And fears or insecurities, the 8 of Cups. So it looks like you have a fear of seeking that missing cup. It's like you have this very full life, everything is in place, but there's this one thing that's missing, and I don't know. It's either you fear it looking at what that might be, or you fear the actual seeking of it. And others see you as the 2 of Wands. So, you know, there is somebody who sees you as a very good partner. And that can mean a romantic partner, that can mean a business partner, it can mean a square dancing partner. I mean, you know, wherever there's a partnership, somebody sees you as a good partner. And positive feelings, the King of Wands. So you have positive feelings about an action-oriented, goal-oriented man towards the end of the month. And then the outcome, the Emperor reverse. So we see a man who is in a leadership position who is out of alignment somehow. And the Emperor can be anything from a father, a boss, a landlord, a coach. He can be a politician, or you know, it can it can represent the patriarchy or the establishment in general. So that's what's happening for Aquarius with the tarot overcast. And for the astrology overcast, January 6th, Mars moves into Taurus. When Mars moves into Taurus, this is going to be forming a square with a lot of, your sun and then a lot of planets in the sky. And so this could be a time where there is, sometime this month, a kind of a showdown of wills, whose will is stronger, who's more stubborn, who can dig their heels in further or insist upon things being their way more, so Mars will be traveling through your fourth house of home, and it's also the house of the parents, real estate, ancestors, legacy, wealth, land. So it's a deep house, and then it's squaring off with everything that's in your house of self and your house of identity, and the house of your body. And so January is going to be interesting right off the bat for Aquarius. January 8th, Mercury enters Aquarius. So when Mercury enters Aquarius, it's entering your first house, and it's coming out of your 12th house, which is great. And Mercury in Aquarius is brilliant. Aquarius is the genius. Aquarius is conceptual and idea oriented and progressive and able to see the future. And so Mercury being in your first house, this is a great time for thinking and writing and communicating and learning and teaching and all of that for Aquarius. Also, the great conjunction just happened in that house at the winter solstice. So this is really the beginning of a new 20-year era in your life involving, yourself, your most personal, aspect of life on planet Earth, right? And so, to the ancients, that first house actually represented like the helm of the wheel that we are driving through this incarnation in this earth suit. And so that's where you were beginning a new 20-year era. And it's an era that we are all having to really relate to and learn your energy and your way, the Aquarian way. And so this is a very exciting time for Aquarius. But, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with this, and a lot of learning, and a lot of, just energy around it. So, anyway, I got lost so this is a great time for you for planning, for strategizing for this next era for yourself. And then Venus enters Capricorn on January 8th. When Venus enters Capricorn, it's entering your 12th house. So Venus in the 12th house can sometimes be, it can represent a secret affair or romance sometimes. It can represent a woman sharing a secret with you. This can be a sister or a female friend, things like that. Or it can also represent like a sister or female friend who is having mental health issues, and things like that. So any of those can be represented by that transit. It'll be for the rest of the month. January 12th is also the new moon in Capricorn. So this new moon, all new moons are incredibly rich and fertile cosmic soil to plant the seeds of intention that we want to manifest. And Capricorn is all about business and money and our ambitions. So this is the new moon to write all of your intentions with specificity and clarity around those topics. If you followed my December 2020, I told you that when Mercury was in Capricorn, that was the time to write your business plan, your action plan, and your budget for the new year. Well, this new moon on January 12th is the time to do the magic around it. And that's when we make our altar, we bring in our candles and our flowers and our photos of the ancestors, and we put all the elements on our altar, and we do the magic. And January 14th, Uranus goes direct, and Uranus direct is going to also be in that fourth house of home. So there could be shakeups in this area, there could be plot twists, there could be, foundational shakeups, the unexpected, so this is a time there could be disruption, and then sometimes Uranus is inventions or brand new revelations, just like electric insights out of nowhere. But yes, it's in that fourth house, which I already listed off all of the things that the fourth house represents, so I'm not going to keep listing them off, but it's a very important house to you this month with Mars and Uranus there. It can be volatile, it can be explosive. January 15th, the Mercury pre-shadow begins. Mercury goes retrograde January 30th, and I'm going to talk more about that at the end of the video, but what I do want to say here is that if you have any important contracts to sign or any important documents to sign, anything that you want to start that's important, any surgeries, any important conversations that need to be had, any important emails that need to be sent, if trips need to be planned or tickets need to be booked or bought, any of that kind of stuff, do it in the first 2 weeks of January. Because once we get into Mercury pre-shadow, we're getting into the foreshadowing period where things are going to start bubbling up. It will be in full swing the first 3 weeks of February, though. Let's see. January 17th, Jupiter square Uranus. This is a very exciting aspect, although it hits exact on January 17th, because this involves the big guys, Jupiter and Uranus, and then Saturn will be coming into the mix in February, but I'll talk more about that in those videos. For now, I'm going to focus on the Jupiter and Uranus square, and this has to do with sudden liberation, sudden expansion of new horizons. It can be very explosive. It can have to do with breaking of records. It can have to do with something like really big and unexpected that changes everything. And so that's happening in your first house of self and the fourth house of home. And again, the fourth house is not just home. It can be legacy. It can be real estate, land, wealth, the parents, the ancestors. So there's a lot of depth to this house. It can also be the homeland, So yeah, dynamic aspect. January 19th, Vesta goes retrograde. That will be, oh, and by the way, for more about Jupiter, Uranus, watch my 2021 full year overcast. I did one video for all of the signs. It's a bird's eye view of the astrology of 2021. I talk about when all the Mercury retrogrades happen throughout the year. I talk about this Jupiter-Uranus aspect at great length and what it means for the collective, because this is a big one, and it kicks off the year, and it really characterizes and colors a real flavor of 2021. So January 19th, the Vesta retrograde is inviting you to give some, find out what you are devoted to, what is sacred to you in these 8th house issues. Now this has to do with other people's money, wills, alimony, settlements, debts. It also has to do with things like death and rebirth and transformation and regeneration. January 19th, the sun enters Aquarius. When the sun is in Aquarius, it's going to be entering your first house, the house of self. Again, the house where you were beginning this new era, So this is highlighting these themes. And, a lot of self-care is in order during this time. A lot of self-reflection is in order at this time. Taking care of your body, mind, and spirit. And January 26th, this has been building since October, but Neptune is squaring the nodes. And this is really interesting because Neptune is in the unseen realm, and so are the nodes. And so this is a karmic turning point that you may not be able to see yet in your real world manifestation world, but it's happening in the ethereal realm and will be manifesting. And it's a karmic turning point related to your finances and resources, as well as your children and or your creative projects and or romance and or pleasure and joy, as well as your 11th house of friends, also the house of groups and organizations. So there's a karmic turning point going on at that time involving those 3 areas of your life. So you might want to look to those areas that day, reflect. January 28th is the full moon of Leo. That's in your 7th house of marriage and relationships. So there will be illumination in that area of your life. Under this full moon, this is a passionate full moon. It's a dramatic full moon. It's also opposing everything in your house of self, where, you know, Saturn, Jupiter, Pallas Athene, Mercury, and the Sun all are at this point. So this is a really very illuminating full moon for you, and a lot to learn, and there will probably be some tension there, you know. But it's all good stuff, because this is an incredibly important period and time of growth and expansion for you. And so, you know, it's all happening as it should right now. And, you know, remember, the pieces on the board are shifting, but Pallas Athene is an Aquarius. So your chess playing skills, your wisdom, and your strategy is super crystal clear right now, and your ability to spot patterns and see the holistic board and project your moves ahead is really sharp right now. So do it. Do the damn thing, Aquarius. Go get it. And yeah, and then finally, January 30th, as soon as I say that, I'm like, oh yeah, but Mercury does go retrograde January 30th. And so, you know, it's really those first 2 weeks of January that are just like major, like great for like thinking, getting your plans done, getting your strategies in place, doing all of that. And in the second 2 weeks, Mercury is retrograde. Well, Mercury is in the pre-shadow of retrograde. Mercury doesn't go retrograde until the 30th, but once Mercury goes retrograde, those first 3 weeks of February, haywire, okay? It's technology breakdowns, internet stuff, mental health stuff, communication stuff. It's going to be a nutty time for the collective and in our personal lives. And for you, that's in the first house of self. So yeah, it's like, it's a mixed bag, because Mercury is in Aquarius. You get these really good strategic mental things happening. And then when it goes retrograde, that also comes back to Aquarius too. So it can be a tough time. This can be an especially potent retrograde for you because it's in your sign. And that is the end of this video. If you liked it, give me a like. If you didn't like it, give me a don't like. I hope you liked it. But please subscribe to my channel. Please share this video with other Aquariuses that you know. Please follow me on Instagram at astrology.tarot.Eliane Nicole, where I continue the conversation. And please have a wonderful, wonderful January.